What's up, YouTube? We're coming here from my filthy garage because it was storing all this Christmas stuff for the season or whatever. But now that's over, we're going to sit here and start playing with the car a little bit more. So we picked up here is a 75mm throttle body from SVE. We're going to be installing that and we're going to do it the proper way. So here we go. All right, now that we got the hood popped, we're gonna go ahead and start changing out this throttle body. But some things you will need is, number one, you're gonna need obviously your basic hand tools, but you're also gonna need a multimeter so that way you can get the voltage properly on the actual TPS sensor. Because on, say, like an automatic or actually any vehicle, you wanna make sure it's running optimally, especially with a new throttle body, because you're gonna do a lot of adjustments and whatnot on it. So I will go ahead and put in the section down below. I will put down there the proper settings for the voltage for the TPS, and also I'll put the instructions for the base idle reset. Now, as you can see, we got the throttle body out and whatnot, but here's the stock 65mm that comes on the 99 to 04s. Actually, I think the 99 had a 68mm throttle body, but these are 65. This is 2000. Here's the 75mm. You can see pretty big difference. You know, and the thing is the throttle body debate, it's up for a while. It's, you know, are you going to gain a lot of power? Are you going to do this, and that? To be honest with you, probably not, because it's more of a support mod, and that's why I'm changing it out too, is just more for support, and plus I got a really good deal on it. I think they sell these in LMR for like 120 bucks. But yeah, I mean, it's not anything that's, hey, it's going to make a huge difference, but it may help with throttle response. But it's definitely great for later supporting mods like, say, supercharging or something of the sort, or just, you know, a high horsepower, high compression in a build. You never know. But might as well get it. It's one smaller step, and it's at a reasonable price. A little something else I did want to point out there. When you are installing this and tighten it up, make sure that you open the throttle blades and you can feel inside, and you see how there's like a slight lip right there? There is room for error to where the throttle body may not line up 100%. So you'll have to get it lined up right, move it around, and then snug it up and move from there. Okay, just a heads up, because I know that's a big common problem people do have installing these. Okay, so we got the throttle body installed. Everything's all hooked back up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start the vehicle up. We're going to get it to operating temperature. Then we're going to set our base idle. So it'll probably idle a little high. At least we want to get it running long enough to get it to operating temperature, because that's where you want to set your base idle and your TPS voltage. So currently we got it running, but it's idle surging and whatnot. You're going to get that. We have the idle air control valve unplugged. We want to get it to operating temperature, but we want it to run on its own without the idle air control valve, so that way you don't have the chances of like stalling out and whatnot. So now, once we get it all up to operating temperature, we can set our base idle where we want, then we can plug the idle air control valve back in, but we're going to have to reset the battery and reload the tune as well, just to cover our bases. All right, currently we have the engine off, but the key on. Idle air control valve is unplugged. We're going to be setting that here few. But now we got to set this TPS voltage. Now we got everything up to temperature. So this white and gray wire is going to be your reference wire. So that you're going to have to just stab into there and then touch on a ground. You just touch on throttle body or even the battery ground, whatever. And you want it to read between 0.95 and 0.99 volts with throttle blade closed. And you want to be able to reach a full 5 volts when you hit the full pedal. So that way you have the full optimum range of the TPS sensor. To adjust it, you're going to have these two screws right here, top and bottom, and you'll rotate it. Now, if you don't have enough play in there, I've had to actually drill these out before a little bit bigger so I can slide them a little more. So you will have to play around on them. All right, now that we have it idling exactly where we want, it's right around 850, especially with these cams. It's a really nice sweet spot for a good lope. The idle air control valve is still unplugged. The TPS voltage is set. Okay, so now we've got everything set. It was idling good and smooth. The TPS sensor set. So we've unhooked the battery. We've unplugged the idle air control valve. Now what we're going to do is we're going to plug the idle air control valve back in. Then we're going to hook up the battery. And then we're going to fire it back up and then let it learn its own idle curve. But at least we know it's going to stay running while at operating temperature at the preset idle we have set with the set screw on the throttle body. All right, so we've got the battery hooked back up. We've got the idle air control valve hooked back up, plugged back in. Now we're going to go ahead and fire this thing back up. And also, I'm going to include a picture of Ford's recommendations on how to do this as well. So that way, if there's any questions, you can always refer to that, and I'll put it right here at the end of the video. But let's see how she runs. And I'm still going to probably reload the tune too as well, just to make sure. Not bad. I can deal with it. Well, everything seems to be doing great. Everything's idling and running fine. It's running great. As you can see, this thing's even got higher miles on it. It still runs fine. I still beat on it all the time and no problems there. But I did notice that my MAF counts are actually just a hair higher than they usually are. So the, factory throttle body might have been a slight restriction, or maybe didn't flow as much. But I'm getting about 10 to 12, more MAF points on there. So yeah, everything seems great. Well, thanks again for everybody hanging out. I try to make it as detailed as possible without going too extensive and making it boring. But everything did work out perfectly fine. Everything runs great. Everything's smooth. So we're good to go. And as promised, I'm going to go ahead and leave that procedure down from Ford here in the last slide. See you guys.